I'm Eitan Weinstein.
And I'm Naor Menninger, and you're listening to Two Nice Jewish Boys.
This podcast is made in collaboration with the Jewish Journal. It happens one day. You meet someone special. You fall in love, move in together, support each other. You get married until death do you part. You take out a mortgage, buy a place in the suburbs or in the city if you're lucky. Everything is going according to plan and life is smiling at you. Then you decide it's time to take the next step. And before you know it, the stork delivers a beautiful baby to your doorstep as if you ordered it on Amazon Prime. You want what's best for the baby. You invest in him from day one. You send him to the kindergarten, you play with him, sing songs together. You're genuinely happy. When your child is 2, maybe 3, something seems a little off. You can't really put your finger on it. The kid doesn't talk yet, he seems anxious, and he never looks at you straight in your eyes. You take him to a specialist, and the news seems devastating. Your child is autistic. An estimated 1 out of 42 boys and 1 in 189 girls are diagnosed with autism in the United States. Autism is the fastest growing serious developmental disability in the U.S. And the scariest part of it all, not one person knows what causes it, nor why the sickness rate is in constant growth. But when your kid is diagnosed, it's not the end, only the beginning. And today, more and more companies are trying to develop ways to aid autistic children. But today's guest, Gilad Piker, is a little bit different. Gilad works in Candy Bear, a production company for animated content. He co-produced Zack and Quack alongside our guest from episode 41, Gili Dolev. And one day he had an idea that might revolutionize the world of autistic children. We're extremely thrilled to have Gilad on the show today. How are you? Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
Thanks. Hi, nice to be here. Wow, who wrote that?
That was Noel. That one was
Nice
Noel.
one.
Thank you.
Beautifully
Very
written.
Thank you.
Definitely.
So let's maybe start with, it's a developmental. I never knew that actually no one knows what causes it. I didn't know that.
There are theories.
Yeah, there are a lot of theories. It started with the vaccines story, and then later it's been discussed as a genetic problem. Nobody really knows.
There is some proof that some cases are genetically related, but it's not definite, I think.
See. And that's the whole thing behind the whole vaccine debacle, is that like people think vaccines cause autism.
Yeah, it's because I guess it's really hard to grow up to raise a perfectly healthy child until age 3, and then the child starts to close up, stops talking. After he already started talking, it seems very communicative and a normal kid, and then they just close up.
So let's start here. What's your connection with autism?
My nephew is autistic.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's not verbal. He's already 16, even more than that. And he's not verbal, and also he feels he never makes eye contact, and also we've been through a lot of experiences together. I took him on the ambulance when he had an epileptic seizure.
Mm-hmm.
I also saved him from drowning at sea one time.
Really?
He's a big guy, yeah. And in all these experiences, I never once felt that he made me feel like we made a connection, that we've been there together. Because after I saved him from drowning, he was just crumbled on the sand in a baby pose.
Fetal position.
Yeah, in a fetal position. And after half an hour, I just went back to sea and everything was okay. And I'm talking about a situation where the whole beach is standing, watching us coming out of the water.
Wasn't there a
And we're
lifeguard there?
No, and we're just saying, yeah, we're fine.
This isn't like he was coughing up a little of water. This is like
no,
he
was
drowning.
beyond. He was beyond the
Wow.
the bay. He was really far.
And it's not like, and so you're saying that even though you guys have had these profound, like deep experiences with which would otherwise maybe connect you with someone on like a deep level. With him, it's not like
No, it's not. He won't make the eye contact. He won't say. There is no thank you. You know, they don't get you the recognition that you were together on this situation. It doesn't happen. And
Wow.
one time I just noticed a specific thing. I notice patterns in the long range. I mean, I have a very bad short-term memory, but I have a very good long-term memory. So if you'll ask me something tomorrow, I won't know it by a month. If you'll ask me the same thing in a month, I will remember. So what happened is I just noticed that he watches cartoons for toddlers, like Teletubbies and Thomas and Friends,
at what age?
on age 15.
Oh.
And I didn't give it a lot of attention that time, but what I did notice is that when the end credits start, he gets up and he stands in front of the TV like it's the most amazing thing you could ever imagine. It's like, it made me think it's the same way I stood in front of the TV when I watched the Twin Towers fall. He's mesmerized.
Not by the cartoon itself, by the end credits.
By the credits, names and titles. So it made me think, okay, if that's where he is, if that's where his attention is, what happens if I'll try to... I'm a very cynical person, so I thought my first thought was, what if I'll add some subliminal messages inside the end
I
credits?
saved your life. I saved your life.
Stuff like that.
Lifesaver.
But I'm also a moral person, so I didn't do that. I asked his parents for permission, and when they told me, yeah, it's fine, okay, we can do a roller collection and replace sentences in it. So for his birthday, I edited together like a half an hour of end credits from his favorite movies. And I just replaced, in many places in the roller, I just replaced some of the lines with text that I received from his parents, all kind of birthday wishes and
I have a question. Do you
Yeah.
assume by now that he knows how to read?
he knows how to read. He won't tell you that, but he knows how to read
How
and
come?
write. Because there's something that's called expression by typing. In Hebrew, it's הבעה בהקלדה. It's a new kind of therapy invented by Yael Cohen. She's an Israeli therapist for autistic children. What she invented, it looks like it's kind of like a seance in a way, because she has this special iPad with big letters, and she communicates with the kids through typing. She asked them questions, and she realized that it's easier for some of them to type the answers, and she started to communicate with them in deeper levels. You know, she could just get out the person in them to answer.
Like someone is trapped
Yeah.
inside.
And again, I'm just saying it's some of them. They're like snowflakes. It's not for everyone.
So he
But
was.
are there autistic children at the age of 15 who don't read and write? I mean, you know, in the developed world.
I'm sure there is,
Yeah.
but he knows how to read and write.
Okay, so you
He won't
implement.
write in handwriting, but he types answers. He knows how to read and write, definitely.
Okay.
So you implemented these messages, and
Yeah.
then what happened?
Yeah, as a backup plan, I also asked all the family to send to film themselves greeting them for his birthday. And exactly because I didn't know if he can read or write, I just added the boxes of videos across this half an hour of the family members greeting him. So the birthday party came. It was we celebrated in our grandmother's house all the time, and we just everybody gave their presents to him, and he couldn't care less, obviously. So He didn't give it any attention. Then I just started to play the roller movie, which I was very, I forgot how to say it. Damn.
Like you were anticipating, like
Yeah,
you were hoping.
I didn't know what to expect because
You were
I
skeptic?
I didn't know if he will watch the whole thing or does it have to be connected to an episode before that? Because it symbols the
It's not
end
like you've done
of something.
tests or something that
No, I didn't know.
You had no idea. You noticed and then you tried this
Yeah,
out.
because ending is important for people with autism.
How come?
It's I don't know. I'm not a
You just-
professional.
but
I just know that
What do you
Okay.
mean,
that
though? What do you mean
it's,
by
it's
that?
kind of an OCD thing to finish stuff and to end a process. For
What-
example,
yeah.
he was always waiting for us to leave the house first. He has to be the last one who leaves the house and to
I
make sure
see.
that everyone. So I didn't know if he will watch it as a roller standalone, or does it have to be connected to an episode or something that comes before that.
Okay. So you put it on.
But I put it on, and he just stood up and he danced his little roller watching dance, and he was
Meaning
so,
he expressed like
yeah,
excitement.
he was very excited about it. And he was just watching, all the family was watching the half an hour of end credits and waiting for the specific lines that I changed to appear. Nobody knew where it was. Myself, I didn't know where it was. And even though I couldn't pinpoint where he read the text, but I could definitely see when he was reacting to the video, because because you could see he was very excited when he saw someone he could recognize on the screen. So I was thinking to myself, I was just thinking, maybe it works. I don't know. So I went to Alut, which is
It's an Israeli foundation.
it's the National
NGO?
Foundation for Autism.
Okay.
And I had an appointment with the supervisor on the education department, Shachar Ben Yehuda, and I was just telling him the story, and just thinking what we can do with it. And he told me that one of the things that makes him very sad is to see a 16-year-old teenager watching Teletubbies and doesn't learn anything new. And I just thought to myself, okay, so if there are a lot of teenagers who are watching cartoons which are not appropriate for their age,
Autistic.
yeah, why can't we just make a TV show that looks like a show for kids, but the topics that it deals with are for teenagers?
Yeah.
Just
Or
really
just create
pragmatic.
rolling credits.
Yeah, but it's not typical for everyone. Not
Yeah.
everyone likes it. So cartoons are much more common
Yeah.
for teenagers.
So create
Doesn't matter
something
if they're
that's
autistic or not.
create something that's like Teletubbies, but actually teaches high school level math.
No, it teaches you practical things.
Okay.
Things like how to use public transportation, or
How to thank people who saved your life, for
Yeah.
example.
or how to use money.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's
practical
more
stuff.
basic. Like it's
Right.
less
Yeah, yeah,
social stuff. It's not the social stuff you can't really teach them.
That's another issue, because you can't promise anything.
Okay.
Because Sesame Street will not promise you that it will teach your kids to count from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
I can promise that it works.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that having a content which is accessible to people on the spectrum would have some benefit on them, for them.
So you come up with this idea, and it seems like you were the first to come up with this idea, or did you research it? Like, it sounds like, don't want to be underestimating, but it sounds like an idea, like a simple idea that someone
Yeah.
like it's right.
Sounds like how could someone not have thought about this?
Exactly.
That was my first thought. How can it be? And that's what I was telling earlier to know, that my first thought was that there is a channel for dogs. there is a channel that for those that you leave. It's channel
my
that you
God.
leave on for your pet when you're going to work.
Oh god.
And I started to think about how can it be that someone researched what is the content that pets like, but no one ever researched how to make content that people on the
'Cause
autistic
no one-
spectrum like.
No one researched what content pets like.
No, because-
someone researched what stupid pet owners will pay for.
What
Yeah, I know.
what hipsters want.
Yeah.
Yeah, hipsters don't usually have autistic pets.
Hipsters don't surf.
No.
No.
Okay, so you had this incredible idea, and what was the next? Like, what did you do with it? How did you?
First of all,
Yeah.
I started to research about all the popular cartoons that people with autism on this specific level of functioning
Which is non-communicative,
yeah,
basically.
are watching. And I've been also told off lately by a lot of teenagers with autism about the fact that they don't like to be categorized by
By their level of
the
functioning.
level of functioning. Yeah,
It's
So
not
there's-
PC.
But
Too.
I guess
if we
I've been told off a lot lately.
Really?
if we do talk about it for a second, I
Yeah.
didn't know that's how they categorize autism. So there's different levels of functioning, and how many different levels are there technically?
They simplified it to a low, medium, and high.
Ah, really?
But it's a spectrum. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not.
really
it's not
sim- that's
a.
really
It's not a line because the it's
I
categorized by physical functioning and verbal
Mhm.
ability and a lot of stuff. So it's not as straightforward. Nobody really knows. They're just people. I don't even try to categorize it. I just try to make a good TV show
yeah.
that will work on everyone. But what will be different is that the stories themselves are very unique, because the situations that I heard stories about from parents and professionals and people with autism, they all sound like a big misunderstanding. It's a comedy.
Mhm.
If you look at it from that direction, it's also a tragedy, but the stories are there. I can tell you one of them.
Yeah.
For example,
So this is a true story you heard, and
True
you
stories.
want to make it into.
yeah,
The plot
it
of
doesn't
the-
matter if they're true or not. I'll just find good stories.
Okay.
They'll start as the reality, but they'll go into imagination and fantasy anyway. So, for example, there is a soccer game. The whole class is playing soccer, and the most popular boy in class scores a goal, but he touches it a bit with his hand, but nobody tells him nothing because he's the most popular kid in class. You don't want to mess with the most popular kid in class, so everyone just passes it through. But one kid who is on the autistic spectrum, he can't let that pass because he doesn't know what it means. There's a rule, and the rule means that he touches his hand, so he comes to the most popular kid in class and just says, "You touch the ball with
He doesn't
your
know
hand."
he doesn't know what
Yeah.
popular means.
No,
Yeah.
you just touch the ball with your hand, so that's it. And the kid says, "No, I didn't." And the entire class says, "No, I didn't. It's okay. But no, you touch the ball with your hand, and we won't let it go. This leads to a very awkward social condition for this kid.
Yeah.
And it can be funny, but it's really sad situation. So that's one example.
So in this example, what strikes me is it's very meta, in the sense that like it's not what I would imagine a TV show for autistic children would be like, because it talks about the essence of autism also, and it forces the children or the child who watches it or the teenager to face his own problems in a very direct way, which I don't know, why did you choose this path in your storytelling? You know, because can they deal with their? Do they know? Like, are they conscious? All these questions come to mind. Are they conscious about their own autism, so that they can recognize in the story that they is autistic like me, and this could happen to me? It's very complicated.
I know it's very complicated. I can't answer that. I just can't.
Trial
we just have
and error.
to do it and find out.
Just like the subtitles, basically.
Yep. So is this a project? So now you're actually in the midst of creating this.
Yeah. So we've developed a story. The show is called Adam and I. It's a story about an imaginary friend and his real kid, who is on the autistic spectrum, and that's Adam. These two friends together, they encounter a lot of day-to-day challenges, starting every day with the fact that the daily routine is messed up. And it can be the fact that they need to go by bus to school this morning, or it can be being lost in the city. It could be a lot of situations. And in each episode, they start in the real world, but they use their imagination and fantasy world to learn and overcome any obstacle that they have.
And this is Adam and I. Adam is the real kid. So it's from the perspective of the imaginary kid.
Yep. I've been told off about that a lot. A lot.
It sounds interesting, though. It sounds like there must be a reason for that.
At first, there wasn't a reason. It was just because it's a fresh way to tell the story of a kid and an imaginary friend. But later on, there was a reason, which I understood along the way. And it is because a lot of people on the autistic spectrum tend not to look at what's on the center. They tend to look on the more... איך אומרים? על הדברים משוליים.
The
far side of
they tend
the picture.
To it can be a man walking with his dog on the background
superficial
of the frame.
stuff.
Kind of you can't really know what they're looking at, but a lot of the time they just miss the center of the action.
They're looking at trivial things around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or they prefer to idolize the sidekick and not the superhero.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought later on was that if I'll put the hero as the sidekick, maybe I'll get something.
Maybe they'll pay more attention.
Yep. I don't want to put him in the center. It doesn't matter. They're both Adam, but they just reflect two different sides of autism.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting, though, because if you think about the nonverbal autistic people, kids and teenagers, and you think, assuming we don't know, but let's say they don't understand they're autistic or not fully understand what it means that they are autistic. And if through your show, you can help them understand their situation better, this can revolutionize how autistic nonverbal people conceive themselves. That's in potential, right?
That's a very, very original thought. Might be. I don't know. I just don't know.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, because I just want to do... That's one side. The story is only one side. The second side of this project is the cinematic technique.
Okay.
And that's the big difference, because I was researching a lot of TV shows for kids, and I started to analyze the colors that are used, the color palettes that they use, and also the character design and the way and what's happening in the show. And we started to form a set of guidelines about how to write, design, edit, and produce this show generally in a way that might be more accessible for people on the spectrum. That means that you can use a neutral color palette, nothing with fluorescent colors.
I hope you patented this.
Not yet. It doesn't exist. So
You
neutral
should.
colors and a dialogue that always as a problem has to be solved between two characters or more. Never a character alone never solves a problem. A lot of guidelines about
Always
how to break down a specific action to very specific shots. For example, if you want to show and teach how to wash hands, and that's not what we're gonna teach. We're gonna teach higher level skills, I hope. But that's a good example for if you wanna show in an episode how to wash hands. You won't explain it literally, but you will show it edited shot by shot. For example, a shot for turning on the water, and then a shot about getting your hands wet, and then another cut for
Putting the soap.
taking the soap and washing your hands, and just gonna cut it. And for regular kids, I'm sorry about that. For regular kids, we'll just show a shot of someone washing their hands. So that's the difference. We're gonna make it just more accessible, and I'm just gonna hope it works.
But the content isn't actually here's how to wash your hands. It's like by the way you teach these things. Undercover, yeah.
It's an undercover because the first thing is that it has to be a good show. Just gonna be funny.
But is there anything to show that they engage? Because what you were saying before leads me to think that they don't necessarily engage with entertaining. Like their sense of entertainment isn't the same as ours, because credits are generally the most boring part of the movie for anybody. And that's why, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you had the credits at the beginning, and then quickly they understood, let's push these things to the end and get the story started as quickly as possible. We all hate credits, but he found it fascinating. Is there something about the content that is engaging, is there something about, like, do you think that they will find it entertaining in the same way?
There are certain levels of benefits you can get from this show. The first one is entertainment.
Yeah.
And that's a basic level that has to be there. It's just going to be a funny, regular show. Like any other TV show that you know. I'm looking at it as like Adventure Time meets Arthur.
Yeah.
For example. So, in a level of entertainment, yeah. Anyone can see this show and be entertained. It's just gonna be like a regular show, but if you'll watch it, it might strike you with a little strange because it's edited in a weird way, or sometimes there are repetitions of specific words or sentences, or you'll find that the soundtrack is missing a lot of background noises because it interferes with the listening. A lot of different stuff, different things, but small things will be different, but it will be a good show.
The credits?
The roller will be special, that I know for sure. Yeah, that will definitely be good.
That's the trademark.
Yeah, because the roller... have you ever seen the roller credits in The Big Bang?
Nope.
No, at the end?
Yeah, so...
No.
Which is also might be a reference for Sheldon. Could be, I don't know. But the roller, but the credits in the Big Bang are actually a short story. They're saying stuff. It's not the credits.
Really?
Look at it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, when your nephew, it's your nephew, right? Or your cousin? Your nephew.
Yeah.
When your nephew watches, let's say, Teletubbies, is he also interested while he's watching Teletubbies? Or is he... Yeah? But then he's overly engaged when he sees the credits. But when he's watching the show, he's also entertained.
Yeah, he's entertained, but he watches the same episode repeatedly since he was 5. It doesn't really matter. He likes to see the motion of animation, the credits, the rollers, the banners, the logos of Pixar and Disney, the castle with the fireworks, and he can watch it repeatedly. No one can explain it. It's just I think it's just the feeling of a known element.
Maybe it's because they don't pay attention to the center of attention. So there's always another detail to focus on. They can always look at this or that or something else.
I can show you later examples of people who are watching credits and rollers that I found on the internet, and they are doing very... I've been talking to a few people that are verbal and love the credits, and each one of them likes something else. One likes the pattern that the lines of the rollers are making, because it looks like a barcode in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Another girl that I've been talking about it with her, she likes to remember names and roles in the movie. She just likes reading names. Another one likes the motion. Each one of them likes something else. I don't really know. But it was never tested before.
If you make the show, because after you're showing the show, would you plan to research the effects of the show? Are you planning that? Because if not, then what's the point, right?
No, of course. We're going to do a pilot. That's what we're funding now.
Yeah.
We're raising money for a pilot, so we're going to make a pilot. We're doing it with the professionals from Alut. And while we develop it, we're going to show it, and we're going to consult with people on the spectrum while we're developing it to make it as close as possible to what our vision is.
It will be in English.
Yeah, it will be in English and in Hebrew at
two
to
versions.
start with. Yeah, it depends where we're going to research it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to have to do some focus groups and some additional research to see how they react to it. And probably we'll need to fix and change elements in the episode or in the format of the show to make it more
fit for them,
fit
more
for them,
engaging.
yeah.
I'm starting to understand why no one did this before. Right?
Seems like a difficult road.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very difficult road, and I'm not a scientist. I never stepped inside a university. But I
He didn't miss much. Let me tell you that.
I do know how to produce a TV show, but everything here is different because it's just anything you can think about is different than just from the way that you just produce a TV show. The ages are different. You come across thoughts like, okay, yeah, I have to make the audience to believe my character, to identify with the character, and then you think to yourself, is it possible to make your audience identify with the main character? I don't know if it's relevant.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
That's crazy. You also told me before we recorded that the actual age you're aiming to is 8 to 16.
Yeah.
Which is like something you never
it's
seen.
not a standard
Yeah.
audience for a TV show. No.
So it's hard to pitch to the networks. Yeah, we're going for 8 to 16.
Yeah,
They'll
we're
be
gonna
like,
research it.
"What?"
We're gonna research it, and I don't know.
How did you become an animator in the first
I'm
place?
not an
Or
animator, I'm a
involved
producer.
in creating animation and
I started as a video technician in a post-production house, doing commercials and.
that's before the kindergarten.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh.
Okay, you want to start in
Yeah.
the kindergarten? Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start from the beginning. I was studying music, which was the closest.
You were gonna say I was in kindergarten.
I was born.
Yeah.
I was first born. So I was
Studying music.
I was a music student at Rimon
Oh, okay.
for 1 year.
Closer to the mic.
Until I understood it wasn't for me, because everyone was better than me. So I left shamelessly, and I started to. I just had a year of living with a roommate in Givatayim, working as a security guard in a kindergarten. And one day I just got a call from my teacher, who was my teacher in high school. I was the best film student in high school.
In all of
the high school. No, actually, I
Where-
won.
where-
we,
where
we
in high
won.
school?
We won awards for students in the Jerusalem Film Festival.
Ah,
I was
okay.
really good.
Okay.
Really, it was in Kiryat Gat.
Oh, okay.
It was like the very
Periphery.
very periphery. Yeah. So I just got a call and he said, "Yeah, my family member is looking for a video technician. I was wondering if you were interested." I was 24. So I said, "Okay, wow, what do you have to lose?" So I went back home from the kindergarten, smoked a joint, and went to an interview for this post-production house, which was in Tel Aviv. And I met the CTO, the chief technical officer, who I just told him, "Oh man, I don't know nothing. I was the best film student ever when I was in high school, but I can't remember anything. I was in the army 3 years. I don't remember nothing but time code." And he said, "Okay, you can just start on Sunday." So while
Maybe
I was
he
on the
smoked a
elevator,
joint before the interview too.
I was just honest.
Yeah.
So while I was on the elevator down, I was already resigning my job, and that's how I started working. I later on replaced him after 2 or 3 years. I replaced him as the CTO, and then I just got into music and started to start to produce some music. The Angel Sea, if you know,
Of course.
Of course,
produced
yeah.
some of the Angel Sea's song.
Wow.
The first album. And then I started to be a producer somehow for Zack and Quack. And I
Amazing.
found myself for the first time just producing a show as a $10 million budget.
You tell the story as if
Yeah.
you just kind of stumbled on these things.
I definitely stumbled. And I don't believe in anything but coincidence.
Really?
Yeah, 99% that I'm right.
But coincidences, do you believe in luck or coincidences that regardless and luck doesn't exist at all?
I'm also a very lucky person, but I don't use that term because
How convenient for
because
you.
first of all, I don't believe it. Second, it might ruin
Yeah.
luck. So
Okay. Fair enough.
I don't debate it. It just happens, and there's a reason.
Okay.
Those who have good coincidences
Yeah.
are lucky.
Yeah.
Those who have bad are not.
So Gilad, here's the thing, guys. Okay, there's a Kickstarter for this.
It's an Indiegogo, actually.
It's an Indiegogo
Yeah.
for Adam and I,
Yeah.
which is this autistic-oriented TV show we've been discussing.
Cartoon?
Yeah.
Cartoon.
So, what's the sum you're gonna raise?
We're currently having a campaign for $135,000.
Okay.
It's a lot of money.
That's
And
not much. Come on,
It's
guys.
a lot of money, yeah, but I can explain.
No, but I'm
why
saying-
it's a lot of money.
That's
It's-
not a lot.
Wait.
People, if everybody gives, if 1,000 people give $100, boom, you have
Of
basically.
course. But
Or
it
if
do- it
Tutu
doesn't
and
work
JB listeners give 60,000.
Of course.
All I'm saying,
The
guys,
Jewish
is,
community.
what I'm saying is, listeners, open your wallets and go to Indiegogo and Adam and I.
Yeah.
But explain.
Do it because I can explain why it's so expensive. It's for a pilot episode which includes a lot of development and involves a larger amount of personnel than just a TV show. We need education professionals. We need professors in the field of autism, and we need to develop a show in a different way, and it takes a little bit more time than just develop a regular show. We need to have some tests and trials, and later on, after we have that pilot, we need to conduct a serious research about its effects on people with autism, and after that, we'll have to tweak it according to these results. And that's why it's a bit more
So-
expensive. I'm sorry, but that's the
No,
way.
I first of all, you don't have to apologize. I
No,
have
I
to say-
apologize to everyone. It's
I have
okay.
to say that if you guys think about it, compared to the huge budgets that go into the American film and television industry for $35 million for just a pilot, this is nothing, and it's an amazing impact. So, and if you think about the fact that just by pulling out $50,
You get the chance
you
to
get the
be
chance to
part
be
of history.
an executive producer,
No, it's not
basically.
only that, you can get a T-shirt. A T-shirt.
You
Even-
get a
Yeah,
t-shirt,
definitely.
even better.
Even a T-shirt.
But even without a T-shirt, think about it. No, $50 to create a television show. So if just half of you pull out $50, half of this budget is boom done. So I'm just saying, this is huge. It's
a
amazing.
mitzvah.
It's a mitzvah. I don't believe in that, but it's a mitzvah. Yeah, I guess.
So
Because they deserve it. There are a lot of people, you're talking about 138 million 8 years old kids
in the world,
Yeah.
in the world. That's a big audience.
right?
Yeah,
They just deserve it.
yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
That's
It has to
crazy.
it has to be done. That's what I have to say.
Okay, so we'll put links. Basically, you go to Indiegogo, you write Adam and I, and you go there, but we'll put a link as well.
You're so good to me. Really.
Cool.
And when can we expect the show? Like, when is it? Hopefully,
If we'll have it funded
yeah.
by the end of this Indiegogo campaign, which will be in February, we can have it ready by November, December
The pilot.
'Amazing.
2019. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, guys, so do it. And anything else before we... Okay, before we go, we have a collaboration with the Jewish Journal, jewishjournal.com, and there you can find amazing articles, podcasts, like the David Suisse's podcast, Shmuel Rosner's podcast. So check them out, guys. They're amazing. And usually we
we say we do this on our free time, so you guys can donate. But today, first of all, go to Indiegogo, donate to Adam and I, and if you have a few more schmeckles left over, you can throw them our way. But guys, check out Adam and I on Indiegogo and donate.
If
and
people want to contact
help
you,
the cause.
Well, there's a Facebook page. On that Facebook page, there are my email, my personal phone number, and anyone can message me there or call me. But
perfect. Okay.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Gilad
Thank
Piker.
you.
Good
for
luck.
having
It's
me.
amazing. Good luck, really.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, guys. Till next time.
Bye.